Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt so completely overwhelmed by the modern world that you just wished you could escape? Today we're diving into a classic, Jack Finney's short story, The Third Level. It all starts with this impossible claim about a train station, but it spirals into this amazing puzzle about our longing for a simpler time and what happens when that line between what's real and what we want to be real gets a little blurry.
So the story doesn't open with an adventure. It opens with a diagnosis. Our narrator, Charlie, he claims he's found a third level at Grand Central Station, a place that, officially doesn't even exist. And his psychiatrist's take on it is immediate. It's a waking dream wish fulfillment, basically a fantasy cooked up by an unhappy mind. Right there, that single phrase sets the stage for everything. Is Charlie losing his grip, or has he somehow stumbled upon a doorway to the past?
And to really get that diagnosis, we first have to look at the world Charlie is so desperate to leave behind, a world that his psychiatrist says is just overflowing with insecurity, fear, and worry. So let's meet Charlie. On the surface, he's just your average 31-year-old guy. He wants to get home from the office to his wife. That's it. He insists he's happy, he's not trying to escape from anything. But then, there's his hobby, stamp collecting. And his psychiatrist just dismisses it as a temporary refuge from reality. See how the story plants that little seed of doubt? Is Charlie's ordinary life maybe not so great after all?
And this, right here, this is the core conflict. On one side, you've got the modern world, full of anxiety, fear, war, just constant worry. And on the other, you've got Galesburg, Illinois in 1894. I mean, it's a total dream of big trees, quiet evenings, and peace. It's a world that hasn't seen the horrors of the 20th century. This huge contrast is what drives the entire story.
Okay, so with this deep, deep desire for escape established, the story takes us on Charlie's really strange journey, right into the heart of a place that just shouldn't exist.
The way Charlie describes Grand Central is so important. He doesn't see it as just a building. For him, it's alive. It's like a living organism, a tree that's always growing, pushing out these new unknown corridors like roots. It's the perfect kind of place to get lost. And, for someone looking for an escape, maybe getting lost is the whole point. His journey there, it's not some big dramatic event. It's almost deceptively simple. He's just doing what thousands of commuters do every day, down to the first level, then the second. But then he ducks into this arched doorway, follows a corridor that angles left and slanting down. It's right there, in those super mundane details, that reality starts to bend, leaving him somewhere totally extraordinary.
So his first impression isn't even about a time warp. It's just a change in scale. The third level just feels different. It's smaller, more intimate, with these old-looking wooden information booths. It's an immediate, jarring contrast to the huge, bustling station he knows. And it's the sensory details that really make this so powerful. He notices the light is dim, kind of flickering, and then it hits him why. They're open-flame gas lights. Okay, so this isn't just some old, forgotten corner of the station. This is technology from a whole other century. The vibe instantly goes from just strange to completely impossible. Then he spots another detail, brass spittoons on the floor. It's a small thing, sure, but it's another piece of the past, something totally out of place in mid-20th century New York. It's just reinforcing that feeling that he is definitely not in his own time anymore. And it's not just the objects, the people are different. He sees guys with old-timey sideburns, fancy mustaches, derby hats. He sees a woman wearing a dress with leg of mutton sleeves. I mean, come on, everyone is dressed like it's the 1890s. And here it is. This is the moment, the final undeniable proof. He walks over to a newsboy and sees a stack of papers called The World, a newspaper that hadn't been published in years. The main story is about President Cleveland, and the date is right there in print, June 11th, 1894. So Charlie literally has physical proof in his hands. But he's also got his psychiatrist's voice rattling around in his head, telling him it's all just a waking dream. And this brings us right to the story's big central question. What is real? This is the question the story just forces us to deal with, and Charlie too, obviously. Was this a real, tangible place that somehow intersects with our time and space, or was it just a really powerful hallucination created by a mind that was desperate for an escape? And when you lay out all the evidence like this, you can really see how masterfully this story keeps you guessing. It is so ambiguous.
For every argument that it's a fantasy, like the psychiatrist's logical diagnosis or the fact Charley can never find it again, there's another super compelling piece of evidence that it was real. The details were so specific, the newspaper was a real thing, and his problem with the modern money, well, that's a very practical, real-world obstacle. Just when Charley and his wife have pretty much given up, they're starting to think maybe it was just a dream after all, a piece of physical evidence shows up that changes everything. And then the story just takes this sharp turn. Sam Weiner, the psychiatrist who called the third level a waking dream wish fulfillment, he suddenly vanishes. Nobody knows where he went, but Charley, remembering all those conversations they had about how peaceful life was in Galesburg, he starts to get a pretty wild suspicion. So to really get the proof that Charley finds, we need to quickly understand what a first day cover is. It's this collector's item where you mail an envelope to yourself on the very first day a new stamp is issued. And the crucial part is the postmark. It provides undeniable proof of the date and the location of mailing. So Charley's sorting through his grandfather's old stamp collection, and he finds a first day cover that absolutely should not be there. It's addressed to his grandfather in Galesburg, and get this, the postmark is dated July 18th, 1894. Inside, there's a note from Sam telling Charley to keep looking because the third level is real, and believe him, it's worth it. Well, Charley does a little digging, and he finds out that right before he disappeared, Sam had bought $800 worth of old-style currency from a coin dealer. That's more than enough money to leave his old life behind and set himself up in the past. The letter from Sam says he's planning to start a hay, feed, and grain business because, as Charley himself notes, he obviously couldn't go back to his old business in 1894 Galesburg. And this little detail leads to the story's final, absolutely perfect twist. Sam couldn't go back to his old business. And what was his old business? It hits Charley like a ton of bricks. Why, Sam was my psychiatrist. And with that one line, the whole story just flips on its head. The voice of reason, the biggest skeptic of all, becomes the ultimate proof that the escape was real. In the end, whether the third level was real or maybe some kind of shared delusion, it almost doesn't matter. What's undeniable is that deep, universal longing it represents. The story leaves us with this really provocative question. If you found a doorway to a simpler, more peaceful time, would you take it? And what does the fact that so many of us would say yes in a heartbeat, what does that reveal about the world we're all living in today?